good. We said everything I'm going to say. It's perfect. Anyway, so good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm Reverend Beverley Strutt. For those that might be new and not know me, I am the spiritual director, sometimes referred to as the senior minister here at this beautiful community, and it's such a blessing, each and every one of you. It's lovely to see. And of course, to all of you out there, you know, we welcome you as if you're sitting right here in the front row. We'd love to know that you're there. I go back and check later on in the week, see how many people are looking and everything. We have a really nice online community. We really do. Yeah. So if you think that chair is open next to you, it really isn't. The person's just sitting in the far back end of there. Anyway, so yes, we are in this whole month of holy boldness, all part of this idea that we are rising up. You know, last year we were coming through, it's just been building. But we were doing all the nice work, we were uncovering everything, so it was a very lot of inner work. This year, let's take it. Let's take it up higher. And as I said last week, we do it a little bit at a time. We're not changing the station. We're just tuning in a little bit deeper. So we're just taking it a little bit at a time. But of course, you know, I always want to bring a little joy, a little laughter in here. So it was this one gentleman, he was going to work, and it was time. During that time, you know, when everybody took their lunch to work, there were no food trucks waiting outside. Well, they were, especially out of construction sites, but you did not want to go and eat from those. They had a really yucky name at that time. Now, of course, our food trucks are wonderful for lunch. Anyway, lunchtime, and this guy's with his friends, he opens, he goes, oh my gosh, it's a cheese sandwich. Again. He goes, I hate cheese sandwiches. Next day, same thing, opens it up, it's a cheese sandwich. And he goes, I just can't take this, cheese sandwiches every day, I hate cheese sandwiches. Third day it happens, eventually one of his friends goes, you know what, dude, why don't you just ask your wife to make you something other than a cheese sandwich? He goes, I'm not married. The choices we make in our lives, right? I hate a cheese sandwich, but man, I'm going to eat it every single day because it's there and I do it for myself. Yeah, it's a big thing about what we're going to talk about as well, about the choices we make for ourselves. The topic for today is fired up. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the right person to speak about being fired. You know, this calm, quiet, depressed individual that I am. No. In fact, when I saw the title, because you know I use some outlines just to see where we're going. I don't use the stuff they give us, I just use the talk titles. And I'm like, fired up, really? I really need to get somebody else in to speak about this. But no, coming from last week of being audacious and now walking into fired up, it was like, yes, this is absolutely perfect, because one more time we're just tuning in a little bit more to see where we're going with the fired up. And of course, you know, it's very easy to look at fire and to think about fire and know that it is just so much part of our living existence. Fire has always been this life force around us. So we have this life force that is fire. We have the fire in our belly, which is the passion. And then we have fired up the actions that we take. So we go through all of this, but we still begin with this spark. And Dr. Holmes says, there is a divine spark at the center of your being. But you need to recognize this, believe it, and act upon your belief. So we all have this in us. We all have the fire around us. But if we don't recognize it and use it, it's kind of like, yeah, it's just hanging out. I'll just walk like this, as opposed to like this. You know, we can use the fire in us. And one of the things that we know is that fire essentially, and we live on a volcano, just saying, is creation. And somebody goes, no, but fire is destruction. Yes, fire is destruction, but without that destruction, we don't have the creation. So we have fire as this beautiful coin that has both sides of it, the destruction and the creation, all at the same time. This is literally how everything is created. Created from this place of openness, this place of where there is nothing, we can bring something to it. So as we see the like we were talking about, so we have these conversations in consciousness on Thursday mornings. And of course, if anybody hears any words that you said on Thursday morning, just I thank you right now for all of your input, because it's so good. Thank you, Pete. So, I was talking about growing up on the farm where we'll be doing controlled burns, because we needed to not only protect the property, but we needed to open up that area, the grazing area, for the new growth to come forward. So we understand that the fire within us is also destructive and creative, creating more space for everything to happen, to come forward into being. So this idea that fire is an essential part of who we are in every way that we can be. And then we move into the fire in the belly. The passion for life, the desire for experience, the desire to be audacious, to have a new experience, to have something new, to literally fill the place that has just been opened up with something new, to bring forth your own creation within it. We need the fire in the belly. Because you don't often see something, oh, I'll just make that happen. Yeah, that's okay. We want to get the passion behind it. We even speak about the passion when we're talking about spiritual mind treatments or affirmations. Don't just say the words. Yeah, you can say the words. But if you don't get that little extra behind it, you're not getting that vibration. You're not getting that extra level of push and engagement with the divine. Last night we had an incredible event here. And, the lady's name is Phyllis. And her name that she uses for what she does is Vox Angelis, the voice of the angels. Very down-to-earth lady. I mean, just really matter of fact. You'd like, oh, she's a businesswoman. That's great. Until she started with her vocalizing or singing or whatever you want to call it, because I don't know what it was. It was amazing. And she dropped in real easily. It didn't take a lot of ritual or connection with the divine, so it seemed just very normal, just part of her. Sat down. She was singing in a language that I had never, ever heard. However, I understood every word she said. Very interesting. And then later on, when the questions were asked, somebody asked her, what about this language? And she said, well, it isn't really a language that we speak. There aren't real, words aren't real. It's just a whole combination of frequencies that come together that are being channeled through her. I go, but I could understand what you, yeah, because it's a universal, the language of the angels, as she said. I have no idea what any of that means, but let me tell you something. The vibrations and the passion that came through this event was amazing. Anybody that was here, you could feel it. You could feel the shifts, right, Charles? You could feel the shifts happening. I mean, we walked out of here. We walked in, it was a good night. We walked out of here. It was a great night. The energy levels shifted. It was absolutely wonderful. So this is all part of the passion, the vibration. You raise the vibration within you so that you can really move forward into an experience with a greater understanding, a greater expression of all that it is. I mean, my mom used to say, if you're going to do something, do it well, right? So if you want to do something really, are you going to do it half-heartedly? Well, what are you going to get? What do we teach? You get who you are, you get how you do. The amount of engagement that you put in is the amount of engagement that you're going to receive, cause and effect, yada, 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 yada. If you're going to do it, get in there. Take your fire. Give it all that there is so that you know that you've done it. I found this cute little thing. It said here, living with passion is like riding a bike, except the bike is on fire. You are on fire, and you are chained to the bike. Doesn't that sound awesome? Or terrifying? I love that, Anne. Thank you. Is this awesome or is this terrifying? Well, it could be both, you know? I find it awesome. I love it. Because, this quiet part of me goes, yeah, no. I'm going to grab every minute, every moment that we can in this experience we have in. We want to grab it with the fullness of who we are. Let's get fired up. Can you feel it? It's coming, right? We're getting the fired up. We're getting the fired up. I can feel it. There's nothing sweeter and nicer than getting in somewhere, starting it and going, all right, and then you start to feel it, and it bubbles up inside of you, and you just get in, and you actually feel like you're growing until you can't contain yourself anymore. That's like waking up for me. Yeah, it is. It truly is. And when I don't have those feelings, I kind of like get, what's going on here? Am I running out of fuel? Am I running out of ideas? What am I running out of? Because if you run on that kind of fired up all the time, you can. You can get a little tired. You might have to take a break, a vacay. But there's also a whole lot of other things that you can do as well. Because getting fired up is a desire that the divine wants to have through you. You are here for the divine's purpose. The divine wants to come into expression in the greatest form possible, and you are it. And so it also has a way to keep you sustained if you allow it, always if you allow it. Those that know me well know I love NASCAR, right? Yeah. Minister, NASCAR fan, it all goes together. You know, really. It's all the same thing, right? Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. So anyway, so I love NASCAR. And the one thing that we know is those cars are fired up. I mean, they even tell you at the beginning, gentlemen and ladies, start your engines, fire it up. Right? Well, can you imagine going into a NASCAR and not being fired up? Oh, I'm just going to cruise. Sure. Hi, folks. Just go on by. Yeah, I'm good. I'll just hang out here. Now, in actuality, some of the big speedways, they do that. They drop to the back, they hang out in the back for a while because they know there's going to be a big crash, and they can avoid it if they can see it, right? But for the most part, you're in it. You are there. You're going at full force. And then what happens when you run out of gas? You pull into the pit stop. That's where we get to go as well. We also have pit stops in our lives. We have pit stops where we can go and get refilled. And who's our gas man? It's God. God is our gas man. God is there, filled up and overflowing with all the fuel, everything that we need to get us refueled, fired up, and back on track as soon as we can, right? And sometimes it's only a couple of seconds that they're in there, get the fuel and get going. You can take your time. You don't have to just be on that racetrack the whole time. But the thing that we want to know is that there is a fuel man or woman. Whoever can carry the can come in and do it. But there is this limitless fuel that comes from the divine that is ours to drink, just inhale it, bring it into our systems so that we can live this life that feels like we're fired up, that we can take advantage of all of this and bring forward the highest ideal of who we are. We have to get powered up, right? We have to get powered up. That is it. We have to get re-powered up. There's so many ways we can do this. We can do it in so many ways. And just as I was preparing for this talk today, I was looking through a couple of Science of Mind magazines. And this little book just fell out. It wasn't a Science of Mind magazine. So when something jumps out at me, I grab it and I looked at it. And it was called The Gospel of Cause and Effect. And so I looked through it and I was like, oh, yeah, this is not talking to me. Except that there on one page was the 7 spiritual qualities that Thomas Troward brings to us. The qualities of the divine: light, life, love, beauty, joy, peace, and power. And you think of those words, and you go, all right, those are beautiful qualities of the divine. But if you think of all of them are intuitively already part of us. You can look at it like, we used to have those batteries that had cells, individual cells, right? You had to open them up, fill them with battery. Oh, anybody? Okay, gosh. I know I'm old, but I was hoping that somebody had had that experience with me at least one time. I was like, yeah, I remember I had a little old Ford and pop open the batteries, fill it up. You'd fill your gas, your oil, and your battery all at the same time because otherwise the car was not going to run. It was an old car, but it was great. So anyway, within us, we have these individual cells. Now, they may not be separate, but it's a good image. Just go with it. And we fill it. And each one of those cells has one of those names on it. Light, love, life, beauty, power, peace, joy. And so we need to fill these up. And they are all part of our intuition. It's all part of, you spoke about that in your song, that powering up through our intuition. And that's why I couldn't believe it when you started singing. I'm like, just come sing right now, because this is what I'm going to say. So within our intuition, we have this ability to recharge our own battery with the fuel of the divine, because the divine speaks and connects to us through our intuition, brings forward. And so we need to sometimes take some time. And so I was looking at these different qualities. And if you look at this first quality of life, what would that quality be? How would we get powered up through that quality? And the word that came to me was engagement. We engage in life. We engage with the people around us. We engage in community. And this fills us up. That cell gets filled up through engagement. Because, we isolate a lot. We can do that. We're at that point in our lives where it's like, even if we're married, even if we're in committed relationships, we can isolate ourselves. And we can deplete. But engagement in life can fuel that cell. The next one is light. How do we feel the light in us? Through inspiration. Doesn't that sound good? I'm going to kick back, I'm going to rest, and allow myself to be inspired. And I'm not just taking a time out. No. I'm actually refueling my cell of light, through inspiration. And you can actually feel it. You can feel it in your brain start to tingle when you think of inspiration and light together. Then we have love. How do we refuel love? Through openness and receptivity. It sounds so good. I was like, who wrote this stuff? It was me. It was. I don't know. Somebody's talking through me because, you know how it goes. But yes, openness and receptivity is the way that we can refuel our love. And Dr. Holmes says that love is the central flame of the universe. May the very first flame itself. The essence of love pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotion, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. So when we are open and receptive to these ideas, one more time, we are refueling our cell. How about beauty? How do we refuel that beauty? It's all around us. But do we notice it anew? It's not just seeing it. It's noticing, becoming aware of the magnificence anew. Because when you see something with new eyes, you go, wow, there it is. And it fills you up. That flame gets bigger and bigger inside you. How about peace? Calm and pause. We pause for a moment. In that pause, we allow things to sort of digest within us. So we've been drinking from the fire hydrant, everything's going on. But when we pause, it's a time to let that all just move and get embodied into you, to assimilate into you, to fuel you up one more time. Joy. Joy is fun. I know for me, joy is the easiest one of all. Joy is just literally, that idea that joy is always present no matter what is going on in the world. But how can we grab it? How can we grab a little bit more of joy when we might be feeling a little depleted? By letting go. Isn't that an idea? By letting go of whatever, even the moorings, you allow joy to just grow inside of you. Because most of the stuff we're holding on to is pretty shitty. We don't really need to have those negative thoughts. We don't really need to have that conflict in our head. We don't need it. It literally sucks the joy out of life. Let it go. Just let it go and allow joy to bring and replace that. Let the fire burn that stuff out that you don't need and allow joy to be the creative medium that brings it all back to you. Love that idea. And then, of course, finally, we have power. That's always a tricky word, power, because we naturally go to power being a victim of, or somebody having power over me, or me having power over somebody. No, that's not it at all. Power is the willingness to move in this direction. That's your power. Power it up. Grab it. Get willing to participate in your experience fully. Get willing to allow the divine to fuel you back up again so that you can get fired up and move on. Yes, Sherry, you're right. Power is yours to get yourself going, but it is willingness that allows the power to come in and do what it needs to do in the most beautiful and positive way. And it has nothing to do with control. In fact, letting go joy and power, they love each other because it just makes everything better. So what do we have here? We have life, light. I got to look because I get lost. Light, life, light, love, exactly. We have beauty, peace, joy, and power. Life, engagement. Light, inspiration, love, openness and receptivity, beauty, awareness, peace, calm and pause, joy, letting go, and power, the willingness to participate. So who's ready to get fired up with me? Did anybody see that post on Facebook with these ladies on the hood of a car just screaming down the highway? And I said, who wants to get on this bonnet with me? Yes, let's get fired up about what we want to do. Let's jump in all the way. Let's not hold back on anything. Why? For a better time? It's like saving the good china for a good day. Get the stuff out onto the table. Let's eat good. Let's have a good time and be fired up and love every minute of it. So in closing, I have a little piece from Mark Nepo. Yeah, I love him. It's called To Hold Nothing Back. To hold nothing back in every breath is a spiritual practice. He says, for 49 years, I have found that hesitation, more than anything, has been the invisible hitch that has kept me from joy. I've found that the moment with all its meaning often moves on by the time I've reconsidered whether or not to enter it. I'm not saying we should always be impulsive. Yeah, I am. He's not, but I think we should always be impulsive. Impulsive with the trust and the knowledge and the confidence that the divine is guiding us beautifully. Anyway, Mark Nepo says, I'm not saying we should always be impulsive, but to the point I have discovered again and again that I usually know what I need to do, but just deny it. And it is this small hesitation, this small resistance to enter what is real, that makes life feel neutral and out of reach. To hold nothing back in every breath means staying committed to letting whatever we experience make its way in and letting whatever is in make its way out. Holding nothing back means holding the intention to be an open vessel in a daily way. An open vessel, ready to receive. Simply and profoundly, our very breath can serve as a reminder that life is only possible if the exchange of inner and outer is undisturbed. Letting things in, feeling the impact, and in turn letting things out, expressing cleanly what we feel, is a spiritual practice that rinses the mind and heart. It is literally the fire that destructs and the fire that creates. And so it is. All right, let's take this to prayer. So we breathe it in. We breathe into this moment and recognize that right here, right now, the power and presence of the divine is working in, through, and as every single one of us. It is the fire within us. It is that flame of life. It is that flame of light. It is all that there is that is fueling us from the inside to move forward and be that magnificent expression we were called here to be. It is simple. It is so simple. For all we need to do is say yes and lean into the divine for guidance, refueling, ideas, and action. For it is in all of it. And as we partake and participate in this, we feel the power of the divine leaning into us as we lean into it, and it is magnificent. So I know for each one of us as we walk our path this week that we lean in fully. We do not hold back. We do not wait on the sidelines. We let go of anything that might be holding us and step fully in to who we are, who we desire to be, who we want to feel ourselves in the world. And we get fired up as we do it. So I know that this is us. This is ours to do, ours to walk, ours to experience, and ours to share. For as we move this energy and vibration in the world, as we shift, the universe shifts in agreement. So we call it so. So I just release this prayer knowing that it's done, knowing that we are feeling the fire and it is good, and we can say it together and say, and so it is. Thank you.